All right, series of silliness bodybuilding, and we have a special guest with us today, Phil Clahar. Will be doing the Mr. Olympia in 5 weeks, and of course, we got the legend Jason Owens. What's up, guys?
Another day.
How you doing, Phil? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I can't
Yeah,
complain. You know what I mean? I'm chilling like a villain.
I appreciate you coming on because you know, well, I don't know what it's like to diet for the Olympia, but I know what it's like to diet for a show.
Man, I've
You know,
been dieting. It's going to be almost 30 something weeks at the end of the day. I've been dieting for a very long time. You got to
wow.
understand, you got Orlando, the Master Olympia. I've been rolling for a very long time. So this is nothing now.
Oh,
Are
so
you
Phil,
a?
how was it over there at the Masters? Because John and I heard
Oh,
some interesting stories.
Let me put it like this. Let me listen. The people in Romania is great. I got no complaints. The hotel was immaculate. I've never been in a hotel. It was like a smart hotel. I mean, the place in general was great. The
Right.
travel was horrible. I mean, I gotta say, I never traveled that far ever. I never traveled internationally that far ever. So I was kind of nervous anyway in the beginning, uh, even thinking about the flight, and then
Right.
all the delays we ran into, and then of course, I ended up getting a skin infection 2 weeks prior.
Did you?
Um, oh yeah. I got a skin infection, so I was on like some very large serious antibiotics, two of them. One was oral. I can't even remember the name of it, but right before I was going to leave, I think it was about 5 days, and I was like looking at my leg, and one of my clients, his business is with doctors. I said, listen, I might have to schedule an appointment to see your doctor friend because I don't want to go up there and these orals doesn't completely work, and I'm stuck in the Romanian hospital. So when I met with the young lady and she looked at it, she said, yeah, I don't feel comfortable. Um, I need to give you a shot of Recephin. And I was like, okay. And then she said, and then I got to give you a shot of steroid to bring down the inflammation because the leg was really inflamed.
wow.
How
So she
bad was the
said,
swelling?
it was bad.
How long
Yeah,
did
you
it
put a you
last?
put a
I
picture
actually
on
posted a
Instagram.
picture of it on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I
I
saw
didn't
it.
Yeah.
see it. Dude, a friend of mine's been in the hospital for 10 days, and the same thing happened to him. He had an infection on his skin, and it
Hmm.
turned into, they thought it was going to go into an abscess. They cut him open twice, couldn't find anything, tried to drain it, but it got hard. But it all
Mm.
started with the skin infection.
Yeah. The thing is, if you wait about, I would say about probably more than 14 years ago, that it happened to me, but I was very stubborn. My wife was like, "You need to go to the hospital, get that checked out." I waited for like almost 2 weeks, and I was working, and I caught the flu, and I'm training
Wow.
clients in a hoodie, and I'm sweating, and I could barely walk. So I called her. I said, "Listen, meet me at the hospital. I got to check myself in. The pain was really bad." So I got admitted because it could
Is
be
there
septic. It
is
could
there
get
a
really
name
bad.
to it? Is there a name to the skin infection?
Um, they just call it cellulitis, but it's really a
Oh,
skin infection. But the thing is, if it gets mine never got deep into the muscle where they had to cut me several years ago. This one was not that serious because I caught it right on time. But if it
right.
gets into the muscle, yeah, they got to cut you, and hopefully they can get to it. But
Wow.
yeah, that's bad if they couldn't find it when they cut into his leg. That's
And
bad.
and and the best part is you still came in third.
You know what? Honestly, I came in. I lost second place by 1 point. So
Oh,
they say 1 point.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cost me
yeah,
5 grand. Which if I would have broke even at 10, yeah, if I would have broke even at 10 grand, I would have took the second place smiling. With no problem. At least I
right, right.
I broke even. But yeah, they whatever excuse they gave me, it is what it is.
Yeah, right. Exactly, exactly. All right, before we start, I got to show you guys something. I think I sent it to Jay. And this is like the funniest shit I've ever seen in a while. It's nothing to do with bodybuilding, but it was just hilarious. And I figured, Phil, since you've been prepping for so long, you might need a good laugh. Anyway, like these Karens that are always the women that always complain and bitch and moan over nothing and they scream and all that crap, right?
Yeah.
Well, this guy does a joke on Instagram about it. Yo, I must have watched this 3 times and I was in tears watching this. I sent it to Jay. I don't know if you got it. Oh, wait, let me go back. Sorry. I don't know if you got it. Did you see it, Jay?
I don't know. Refresh my memory. How long ago
Hold
was this?
on. Oh, 10 minutes ago.
Oh, I didn't
Right.
get it 10 minutes ago.
Well, watch this. Watch this. This is hilarious. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Watch this.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
I've been honestly too loud. You moved in here a week ago and you think you can just have loud parties. You're waking up the entire neighborhood and you're pissing out here on the street. When I take my recycling
She
out,
laughs a couple times too.
all I smell is piss. And now I know it's your piss. There's kids that live in this neighborhood and they're trying to sleep. Do you think they can sleep with this racket? I don't want to keep smelling your piss.
He breaks character and starts laughing.
Do you pay the rent here?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Let me go back.
I saw that the other day.
Yo, I was fucking rolling. I couldn't hold it together. Oh shit. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Anyway, so we got 2 shows coming up. First of all, I want to talk about the last show that Nathan won. I really thought Charles, what's his name? What was the new? I didn't even Alfred. No, what the hell's his name? Shiriak? Yeah, that's his name. Right?
Where did he place?
5th.
Okay.
And I really thought he should have been as high as 2nd. Because when you see this guy's physique, it was really, really impressive. So I think is he doing Allegiant? No, he's doing Italy, right? Yeah, he's doing Italy. Yeah. Vlad Alfred Shiriak from Romania. This guy, I thought
Vlad was doing he's not doing I thought he was doing Legion, no?
There's 2 Vlads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's Vlad the Impaler, and then Alfred Shiriak's first name is really Vlad. But did you see what Shiriak looked like, Phil?
No,
I didn't see him either.
I'll pull him up. He was phenomenal, and I was like, "How is this guy taken 5th?" Because it was unbelievable. Let's see. Got to get out of this one. Okay. There we go. And then I guess we'll go to see if we can get Ferdinando. There we go. Because Shiriak just looked outstanding. If he's on here. Let's see. Is he here? No, this is only the top 4. Let's see if we could. Actually, let's see if he's got it. If Alfred Shiriak's got it. There we go. Yeah, well, these are some poses I guess he just put up, right? I never heard of this guy before. But when you look at these shots, especially from the back, the guy really had it put together. Let's see if he put out any back shots. Let's see.
Isn't he doing the one that's not Legion, the one that's coming up? Because there's 2 shows
in Italy. Weekend. Yeah, he's doing the Italy. This is him to the left here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, here's a back shot. Look at that. I mean, this is this was what's his name? Tim Budashane. That's Nathan. This is Shiriak. I mean, just from that shot right there, that rear double by, I think it's better than Nathan's.
Yeah, Nathan wasn't. I don't think. No disrespect to him, he wasn't as good as he was the last 2 shows. I think his midsection was washed out a little bit.
Yeah, he had a layer of water on him. There's no question. But this guy really, even this lat spread, this guy really looked like. I mean, his hamstring is good. They just like they either overlooked him.
I'm shocked he took 5th or not 2nd.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it was Nathan who came in
washed out.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he looks. Yeah,
he did. He definitely had a layer of water on him. His best look was the first show. What was it? When he beat Regan.
That wasn't in Italy.
It might have been Italy.
It was Italy and France.
No,
it's Italy, Spain, and then France. I thought it looked.
Yeah.
I thought it looked best the first time around. But this guy Shiriak, coming in 5th, I thought that was real. I thought that was a slap in the face. But then again, the guy who came in first was second was Theo LaGuerria. This guy came in. This guy came in 3rd, and then Roman Fritz came in 4th, and then he came in 5th. If I'm right, I might be having that mixed up, but I know he came in 5th.
Fritz only got placed pretty good because of his conditioning. He's a little undersized.
Absolutely.
But his conditioning brings. And some of these shows, man, they really play off of the shows prior. It's weird how the setup is when they're all back to back. No, he looks really, really good. He looks good.
Yeah. No, I got to hand it to Fritz though, man. He is a bodybuilding beast. He just keeps competing. What did he do? 5 shows this year or something like that? 6, something like that. And I know he won one. He won 1 show, but if he could just put on some size, if he could put on 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he definitely looked better than he did last year. I don't know if he's competing, just running it. I was telling my wife, I think he's just running it. It could be money because, you know what I mean, he probably knows that, hey, he's going to do the Olympia. So, you know what I mean, it's not like he's going to be in no big money, situation. So his client is just, just like, I don't even know if Nathan is going to do the Olympia.
He's saying he's saying he's going to. After he won that Shiro Classic, there was a French bodybuilding channel, and they interviewed him. I forgot what it was called, Maximum Muscle or something like that. And they asked him over there after he won, and he said, yeah, he said he was going to do it. I know, because last year he didn't do it, and he was qualified for it last year. I'll be honest with you.
He had some illegal issues, I think, why he didn't do it last year.
Yeah, I heard the same thing, but then according to this interview, he says that no, it wasn't the case. He just didn't do it, whatever, for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean, all right. So now, if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think I sound like a dick, but I don't think it's even going to matter, because I don't think he's going to be able to hold his own against the guys at the Olympia. That's a different level.
The top six is already. The top 6 is already. It is.
It's already close. Yeah.
That's not going to change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is the battle? Everybody's just battling to break that top 10. That's where the battle is going to come in at.
Yeah, because then you look at the other guys. Like, I don't think he could beat Crizzo. I don't think he could beat you. I don't think he could beat Tony O'Burton. I mean, it's already 9, right?
Yeah. Especially with unless he could bring in that first conditioning in the first. It's kind of hard. Some people can improve as they go on in shows, and then some goes the opposite direction as they continue to go on in shows. You know what I mean? So the question is he going to be able to maintain to bring the type of conditioning needed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Antonio, of course, is very, very improved.
Yeah.
Crizzo is very improved. He just struggles with his posing. That's Crizzo's big problem.
Right. That's right. Agreed.
And it's going to be very interesting.
Let's not forget Brett Wilkins. He's doing it too.
Oh, Brent, and also Shear.
Justin Shear. Yeah, and I don't think he could beat any of those guys, to be honest with you.
It's going to be interesting. I never met Nathan, so I never. He looks like he's a shorter guy. I never met him. I never competed against him. So
yeah, I like his personality. Anytime I see him on a show, he's funny. He's down to earth. He tells it like it is. So I'm a fan of his personality. But if I'm going to remove for some people, it's very difficult to remove emotion, somebody that they want to win, as opposed to like, let's look at it, logically here and remove emotion. And I was always a fan of Nathan, but the guys now, the talent is just too deep. And, just to do, first of all, if he retires today, he has a stellar bodybuilding career, 11 wins. I mean, that is insane. So, I would just do the Olympia, especially if hopefully he has sponsors that would pay for it. I would just do the Olympia just to say I did the Olympia. But for the most part, I don't think he's going to do well. But at the same time, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, the guy's career was... When
he did the Olympia a couple of years ago, I think he placed, what was it, 10th or 8th?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But
you're talking 3-4 years ago.
And the talent pool wasn't as good. The guys that are dominating were younger back then and just coming up, and now they're dominating the Hotties and the Derricks and the Sampsons and Nick Walker and so on and so forth. But I don't think Regan is going to do well against that lineup too. I'm going to hand it off to Jay after this, but my opinion is that we're probably in another golden age of bodybuilding. I think these guys are some of the best talent in bodybuilding history when you really go down the line. These guys are fucking good. What do you think, Jay?
No. I mean, there's some...
I like how you did it too, but you paused for a second. No.
Okay.
You're talking best in history. Dude, you can't,
one of the best lineups in history. Yes, I think. So.
I don't even know. One of the best in recent history. There's no way you're ever going to surpass ever, and it's not because it's my generation.
Right? Yes, it is.
No, it's not. And you could just prove me wrong.
All right.
with either Dorian or Ronnie at the top, right?
Mhm.
Flex Wheeler, Chris Comair,
Right.
Paul Dillette, Nasser El Somebody,
Yeah.
Sean Ray, Kevin Levrone. There's 3 or 4 that I'm neglecting to mention, but those 8 right there, there's never been 8 in any era
Yeah.
That's true.
that any of those 8 could have won.
That's true.
Now, okay. So I'm gonna
That,
push
but
back
the
a little bit.
shapes, hold on,
Go ahead.
but the shapes of these guys, okay, and the pound for pound, the amount of muscle and the quality and the look and the symmetry and the flow. There's a few good guys right now.
No, there's more than a
But-
few good guys. Right?
No, but you could pick them apart from a a genetic standpoint or a shape standpoint, or a shoulder to waist to hip ratio standpoint.
All right.
But if you think I'm wrong, go ahead.
The first thing I like to do is take Ronnie out of the equation because
You can't.
No, well, just hold on. Ronnie is the greatest bodybuilder that ever walked the planet. He is the Muhammad Ali of bodybuilding. He is the Mariano Rivera of bodybuilding, the Arthur Ashe of bodybuilding. There was nobody like him. So to compare him, it's very difficult. So, but when you take the rest of the guys, like Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, I would put Derek, Sampson, Nick, Hadi. I would put them up against them. And I don't think it's going
3 or 4 of them.
And well, that's not true either, because then now you have Hunter, and you got Andrew Jacked, Mike Crizzo, Tonio Burton. You have a lot of deep talent, and I'm not taking anything away from, because that's my generation too. I'm only a few years younger than you, right? I'm not taking anything away from the late '90s, early 2000s. That was probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest. But this time around, they could stand up to those guys. These guys right now, they could stand up to those guys. Now, 2018, 2019, 2020, I would have agreed with you 100%. But these new guys coming up, and the top 5, top 6 guys, they could stand up to those guys.
Now, here's the only issue I would say is it depends what the judges were actually looking for back then. I think back then it had a lot to do with structure. I think when, of course, Ronnie and not Nasser, was it Dorian Yates? Is when they started creating that mass monster type thing.
Right.
What I firmly believe, compared to the talent from back then till now, the only one that I give the absolute most props to is Andrew Jack. Structurally, the guy is dangerous, and once he puts it all together, I don't think anybody is going to beat him. It depends on how long he plans on sticking around.
Yeah.
But I'm a structure guy and a flow guy. So what I see now, I'm a little bit displeased because I see the direction the sport is going in, and everything is size. They're upping the weight and physique, classic physique. So everything's moving more towards size, right?
Hmm.
Then you come back to the health situation. If you're pushing size, then you're pushing more gear. You get what I'm saying? So,
but in my argument though, these guys, especially guys, and the guys I'm going to name is Derek, Hadi, Sampson, Hunter. I'll throw Nick in there, but Nick's shape is a little off. But those guys have shape, flow, size, and common condition, and these guys are way bigger than the guys in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. They are way bigger, but
yeah. And Andrew too. Obviously,
you get in some of these shows, and it gets a little bit confusing because one minute you're thinking, okay, well, we're going towards size. Even when Sean Roden won, we thought things were changing to now going to the much more pleasing look, right?
Yeah.
Me competing in the Masters, just for example, if you're hearing Master Olympia and Mr. Olympia, yes, that's size. They're looking for freaks. It's always been about that, right? Yeah. So me going into the Masters, coming with the conditioning and size, you put pictures up to pictures, then structurally they just skipped over me and Max Charles to, no disrespect, to what you call it,
Come on.
Come on. You know what I mean? And you look at the pictures, you know what I mean? But we're in the Master Olympia. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
There's a little bit of
you don't
suspicion
know
about
what,
that win, though.
yeah, you don't know what the judges are looking for. It gets very, very confusing, even with me doing these shows. It
Yeah.
comes down to who's looking for what, and they claim to say the head judge has no call. They claim to say that, but I think they do have a call when it comes to tiebreakers or things that's close. But you know what I mean? Yeah, this generation, they're absolutely freaks. They're just freaks, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So to push ahead, we got the Legion coming up, and then out of nowhere, the Legion's on Saturday, and then out of nowhere, they threw together the show in Italy called the Italian Olympus Pro on Sunday. The Legion was supposed to be the last Pro 5 squad, but now it's obviously Italy. The Legion's got some really, really good guys in it. So yeah, you got Lewis Breed, William Martins. If you've never seen William Martins, he's the Portuguese. He's working with Milos actually right now, right? I'm pretty sure he's working with Milos. He's the Portuguese pro. I had him on my show. I needed a translator. Actually, had a friend of mine that was Portuguese. He was able to translate. And then you got who I think is his show to lose, Charles Griffin. You also got Dorian Haywood. John Jewett is making his open debut. He was always 212, and now he's doing his open debut, which, in my opinion, I think is a good move for him. Then you have obviously a bunch of guys that we have never heard of, but that top, 4 or 5 guys that just stayed, those are quality dudes.
Yeah.
And but if you haven't seen what Charles looks like, Charles coming in, no joke, man. The guy looks freaky. He's suffering because he's just chiseled to the bone. Have you seen what he looks like, Phil?
I think Arts must have posted a picture of him.
Yeah, I'll pull him up because the guy just looks phenomenal. And what's good about Charles is he's playing to his strengths, right? I mean, his where are you? He really is playing to his strengths. I mean, this was today with his hamstrings. I mean, that's not even a good shot. Let's see if I could. What was the one we looked at him last week, right, Jay? Oh yeah, look at this. That is 500 MCM cables running through his fucking hamstrings right there. That's insane. And then not only that, his back. Oh, look at this side tricep. Look at the size of his tricep, how small his waist looks, and how full his pecs are. The guy is impressive, man.
Yeah, he looks really good. The thing with Charles Griffin, the improvements he's made since I competed against him way back in Tampa is great. But when he goes against someone taller, with better structure, he runs into a little bit of problems. Now,
right.
I think honestly, it's going to be. I mean, a lot of these guys look really, really good prior to the show, but then it's what you bring on stage. You know what I mean? They could look this good.
You can't be fooled by these gym photos.
Right, because
that's right. Everybody looks good when they got carbs and they're pumped and they're doing this and they're doing.
Agreed.
You look at it, and he's got 50 or 80 pounds on his hamstrings and he's contracting them.
Right.
Dude, any other guy in that lineup, you do that exercise and it's going to look very similar to that. I'm not taking anything away from Charles, but dude, you're looking at gym shots. That's not the sport. It's not who has the best physique in the gym. It's who could put it together under those lights, like we talked about last week. Excuse me. Under those conditions, and be able to pose, call out after call out after call out, and not flatten out and not spill over and not
agreed, absolutely.
So there's a lot more to it than taking a couple still shots in the gym and comparing them to.
No, absolutely, I agree. And his
up,
and he has a great vacuum. But no, I agree absolutely. What some guys don't even transfer over. Some guys look great on Instagram and look like shit on stage. Like,
well, people are giving Regan Grimes shit right now because of his Instagram posts because they're saying they're filtered.
There was another guy too, Peter. I forgot. He's another guy that looks great on Instagram, and then when he goes on stage, like, what happened? But Charles's vacuum is phenomenal for an open bodybuilder. That's probably the best vacuum in open bodybuilding. And he's only done that in the last couple of years. And I think makes him a big improvement when he does his front double bi, because he has like this short torso and it looks very crunched down. Yeah. But I think it makes a huge improvement. I think this show is his to win. But like we said, once you go to the Olympia, it's a big difference. The other guy that I kind of wanted you guys to take a look was the Portuguese guy. I don't know if you guys ever saw him, because he's really good. He just has a little structure issue. William Martins, right? Yeah, here he is. So he's doing the Legion. I'm pretty sure he works with Milos, if I'm not mistaken. So he does this hand clasp shot, most muscular, for a reason, because he has a bit of a wide waist.
Yeah, I see it.
Right, and that kind of throws him off, because he's got
short arms too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of size, and he has. See, now I'm going see if I can find a show from last year. He's got a lot of size. He comes in shape, but his what do you call it? Throws him off. His waist throws him off a little bit, and so you could tell from here, right? You can see he's got kind of a thicker waist. But I'm trying to see when he has any contest shots, because he comes in great shape, and that's his only flaw. The problem is, like, you really can't do much about that. Come on, give me a shot on stage here. But I think he's going to break the top 3 or 4 definitely at this show.
Yeah.
Where is it? Come on, give me a stage.
Well, you can't forget about Justin's
here we go.
Justin's in it, right?
Yeah, Justin has. I don't think he's going to do well, but we'll talk about that. Of course, he posts all the shots where you can't see his waist. Why wouldn't he? Right. But all right, here we go. So I don't remember. This was a couple.
Well, the side tricep you could see.
Yeah, see, that's
his waist.
Yeah. That's just the biggest problem.
See, look how good he looked in those gym shots.
Right. Okay? Yeah.
And look at here where you could see all the flaws.
Right. Yes. No, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, you're right.
Because remember, you're pulling water, you're carb loading, you carb up too much. You know what I mean? So, and that's why, like, I love watching people do it. I don't do a lot of, me, I don't really do a lot of pre-show picks. But yeah, there's a lot of scenarios go into that, that peak week, and then stepping on that stage, nobody looks the way they look, granted and shredded like they look in these pre-pictures when they step underneath those lights.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I agree. I think when he's on stage, his biggest problem is his waist, and it throws him off. And he looks better now. This is a couple of years ago. He's a little fuller and comes in. He's a little harder now. But before we get to Justin Rodriguez, let's go. Actually, Eric Wood is in this shot, and and Eric Wood could be a good bodybuilder too. He did the New York Pro. So let's see Lewis Breed, because Lewis Breed is another guy. He has like a really hard, dense, grainy build, but kind of like the same problem where he has a little bit of a thicker waist. I think I don't remember what show we did, but he's impressive, man. Oh, right. He did, did Texas or Tampa or something like that? He
looks like Texas. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's Texas.
Yeah. He just.
Right there, he's going to get eaten up.
Right. Exactly. Because once you put him up against a guy like Hunter, who has this great shape and flow and whatnot, you could see his flaws incredibly, right? Like, even the space, Yeah, space between his chest and his wide waist.
His biceps look like there's something in it, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That split down the chest is distracting, and it's probably not a genetic flaw, but it's probably nothing he could really overcome or something. But it does detract.
Agreed.
Blocky in the waist. It's almost like his waist comes out. It's weird.
Yeah.
A little bit. It comes down with his lats and kind of splits out almost like a triangle.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get a better shot of him.
But dude, the guy's he's a freak show,
Yeah. Okay, then you had and before we go to Justin Rodriguez, let's go to Eric Wood. This kid is a young kid. He's really good. His whole problem is he has a great shape. His whole problem is his glutes and hamstrings don't really come in hard enough to really. This was him at the New York Pro, right? Uh, great shape, great waist. From this angle, looks great. But it's when he gets his hamstrings are shallow, obviously. When he gets to the rear, see
Oh yeah, I see.
that's always been his issue. And if he could correct that, I don't know how. Maybe if you could grow into it, put some more
But his
size
front
on.
and his back shots is not the same. He looks harder in the front than the back,
Exactly.
from even
Yeah.
top down.
Off
Yeah,
from behind. There's
yeah.
definitely a big difference in the front and back.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. The only look, you guys know better than me, but the only way I could see him fixing that is if he grows into it and put some more size on, and his
Into
hamstrings
what?
and his if his hamstrings and his glutes get better, and he puts some size on, and it'll press closer to the skin. Maybe it'll give him the ability to.
No, he's not dialed in right. You'll see more when he's dialed in right. There's a film. It looks like even a layer of fat over his glutes. From the front, there's a film of water over there. Even though he looks semi-hard there, that's not separated and peeled.
Right.
He looks like he's about a week or two out here.
Yeah, I think we just got to give him some time. To be honest with you, I think he's a young guy, and I think he's promising. So I think now you changed my mind.
He looks harder there than he does on stage.
Right. Yeah. I think, actually, because this is only 5 days ago. So maybe he made some improvements from the New York Pro to this show.
That's my point from before. Like, so many things could go wrong. You know, if you really don't know how to dial your body in, to a show. Like,
and you got to look at it too. You see that a lot of them like to take pictures with a little bit of dark in the back. It gives that when you're on stage, it's bright. Everything is being lit up. You know what I mean?
That's
even the separation here looks better than it did from those stage shots
on the stage.
Yeah, I think he made a lot of improvements. Hopefully, he looks he was able to correct his problems from the New York the Pro. I interviewed him after he did the New York Pro. He's been on, but okay, let's check out Justin Rodriguez. I've been relatively disappointed. I don't know what's going on with him, but his shots don't look like. Is that the same guy? No, is that a different Justin Rodriguez?
Weight.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Where is he? Come on, I know.
Cool car though.
I'm like, wow, Justin lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, really. You ain't kidding. Shit. Where is he? Does he not have a Instagram anymore? Some guys do that when they're really busting. When they're really.
I know. RX Meltzer showed a picture from yesterday from the bag.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, these are the pictures I see.
Yeah. So this was 1 day ago?
Yes. Yeah, that's the picture I saw.
What is that other shot? The next one.
That one?
That looks good.
This was 3 days ago? I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think it's going to cross over onto.
Well, he has a different coach. He's not naming who this coach is until after the show. Mm-hmm. So he has somebody. It's probably freaking Peter Couture or somebody. It's got to be somebody of the.
Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to name him? What's the difference?
A lot of these guys do that.
Really?
Quite a few of these guys will do it. Like, when they switch, because you switch coaches a lot, and they want to win or do super well before they announce the coach's name. I guess I don't know, but you know what, Justin has disappointed, but. I think because he took a little break. See, before he wasn't taking no time off. He was just pushing.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Right, Phil, you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was bruising and like injection sites.
Oh, this was a week
his
ago.
Triceps are weaker.
Yeah, maybe he's doing a little.
He's doing something in his triceps to enhance them. And they're looking blurred and distorted, especially in that shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what he has to be careful with, because I know when he ran into the I think it was the Arnold when he had the shoulders all injected. He's got to be very, very careful, because they are deducting points for these things here.
Yeah, that's right. And the other guy that I'm just, for some reason, I keep waiting for him to break out, but he's just kind of not, is Dorian Haywood.
He's a great guy, man. We're decent acquaintances. I talk to him a lot on text and stuff like that, and he always shoot out and wish me luck, but there's something just not.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It looks like
Yeah.
he's fading. A couple years ago, structurally, he was looking really good, and I don't know what's going on now. I mean, 2 years ago, I think he was a little bit better than this. This year, I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
no, me neither. I've been like ever since this guy turned pro, I've been kind of waiting for him to like break out because he was like massive, and I just I don't know. It just hasn't been. This was what? This was Spain. I don't remember.
Oxytropin.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that new Europe growth hormone. Sorry, because now they're leaning more towards the already liquid. Now you don't mix it no more; it's coming already mixed.
Is that
Um,
that on his
yeah, that's one of the new things now that they're starting to do. But I experimented with it. It tends to make you hold a little bit of you hold a lot of water and you get really extended in the midsection.
hmm.
I've tried a couple of these new it's this new thing they're coming out with because everybody hates mixing now. So now it's coming already mixed, but how you know what's mixed in it?
Yeah,
You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right.
I don't know.
And
Um,
the other guy that I
but
want
but with
to.
growth hormone, um, you can't have it pre-mixed. You have live cultures that
that's what
you
I'm
that
saying.
cannot sustain. These things are time sensitive, and then the more they're reconstituted, the
No,
less
Sean.
potent their lifespan is. Whatever, whatever. Right, Phil?
Yeah, I mean they're
God
trying to
bless
get
them.
creative with it, but yeah, and one of the big problems with Dorian is he was told he needs more sweeps, and he trains really hard, but even in those pictures you just showed, it's just
Yeah,
his legs is just the front quads are gone. There's no
Yeah,
sweeps
there's
there.
there's something going on. Like it doesn't look like it's holding.
The muscle ain't sticking.
you think
The
it's
Well,
some
muscle
it,
must
kind
not
of
be
you think it's
sticking.
some kind of nerve damage or
well, it could be, but it also looks like there was something there years ago, and it's faded
Yeah,
because, like, look at that front right there in the middle. Like it looks like
oh yeah
it just has gone. I don't know
yeah.
what he looked like a couple of years ago.
he looked much better.
Well, let's
Yeah.
see. Maybe we can
I've
find.
competed against him a couple times,
How
and
how old is he, Phil?
he's not young. Dorian is I think he's
Yeah,
40. He's 40.
So look, and there's guys, there's guys that get better in their 40s, but
And there's some
not
that
everybody will.
no.
So his better years might be behind him.
And I tell a lot of people too, as you age, your training has to be different. Like he goes balls to the wall with crazy heavy weights. And I tell so many people, a lot of people Instagram me, as you get older, even Dexter Jackson, everybody had to switch over their style of training. You
you're
can't just
right. You're
pound. The body
100%
just is
right.
not going to stand up with
Yeah.
pounding it as if you're still in your young ages. It's just not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It's just your body can't take it anymore, and you do have to change. I mean, I'm not a competitor, but I feel it myself. When I squat, I can't do it. My back bothers me. I can't squat as much, and I've changed to basically,
When was this picture right here?
this was 28
Years
weeks
ago.
ago.
28 weeks ago. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, you see how
Oh, sorry.
full, regardless of his waist and his stomach, you don't see that when he steps on the stage. He looks
Right.
watery.
Yeah.
And with the film, I don't get it. Like that's what I'm saying. These guys be looking remarkable prior to stage, and you get on stage. Once that tan hits you too, like Dorian he has a paler look. So I would pre-tan in a tanning bed prior to even stepping on the stage. I even do it 3 weeks
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because sometimes when that tan hits you, some people don't take to the tan very well, and it makes them look like they have a pasty look. I don't know.
Hmm. No, I agree. Absolutely. And the other guy that I was interested in checking out was John Jewett.
He's
I don't know,
good.
he is good. And I think it's a good
He's
move.
good.
I think it's a good move moving to open for him. What do
Yeah,
you guys
he's
think?
good.
What do you think, Phil?
I think it's great that he's doing it. I mean, why not? Now, if he does well, he has an opportunity to pick where he wants to compete, which I think he has a better chance in the Olympia 212 than the Open. But I think it's a great move. You're already in the 212 in Olympia. Test the waters. Everybody else is doing it from the 212, and some people don't look like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
This guy, I never met him, but I give him much respect because he looks really great, really, really
Yeah.
good.
What do you think, Jay?
I like John. He's got a good physique. Personally, I like him better than the 212s. Um, he adds depth to the class, and I don't know if he has enough, like a Derek,
Mm.
where you're going from the 212 to the open. I don't know if he has enough that it's going to help carry him into a higher placing, or even, believe it or not, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, even a good placing. The lineup is just too tough for
I
him
think
to.
he'll do well in a show like this, um, because of his shape and his conditioning. But any kind of other deeper open lineup, yeah, I think he would be out muscled.
What is he weighing? Do you know what he weighs in, or what he's?
I have. Let's see. Making some slight body weight drop again today. So putting in another 100 grams of carbs. I have gone from 280 to 450. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It doesn't really say, to be honest with you. 4 days out of the Legion. Doesn't really say how much he weighs. I have no idea. But let's see. But
he's an intelligent guy, dude, and he's got a good look.
He does. He's got great. It's just, I think he'll in a lineup like this. I think he's going to do good. Like he could probably.
I think he's going to do. I think he's going to do good structurally. Like looking at him, there's everything is even.
Right.
Even like putting Justin's picture against him right now. You get what I'm saying? He looks. I think in this show, I think he's going to do well. Now, is he going to be in the top three? I don't know, but I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the top 6, and I think his conditioning and his shape is going to take him far. I don't think he's going to be able to beat guys like Charles or John Jewett. John Jewett. I'm sorry, but
that is John Jewett.
I apologize. Who was I thinking of? Yeah, I know. Really, Lewis Breed. But we got to see what he looks like on stage. Or
that's the kicker,
does he have enough size to go up against the big boys? But how old is he? Because if he's still a young guy, if he's still in his early to mid 30s, he could probably put some size on for next year or the year after or whatever. I don't really know, to be honest with you.
I don't think he's young. That's for sure.
Nah, yeah, I don't think he's.
I don't think he's too old.
Yeah, I think he. So now we have the Italy Olympus Pro on Sunday, right? And you got the heavy hitters in that lineup is Alfred Chiriac, Roman Fritz, Theo Laguerria, and that looks like about it.
That's the top 3 right there.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the top 3 right there. And in my personal opinion, I like Chiriac better than Fritz and Laguerria. Laguerria
me and Patty said the same thing.
But for some reason, he was relatively overlooked at his Theo. He came in second at this last show. Chiriac was overlooked a little bit and came in 5th, and I really thought he should have been second or third at least. I mean, I liked him a lot better. This is Laguerria. He's a guy that needs to put on some size. He has great shape and flow and conditioning. He just doesn't have the size of these guys has,
Yeah.
I don't know how much they weigh, but when you see him against, the guys on stage, again, because he came in second and Nathan dwarfs him, but I have no idea how much these guys weigh, to be honest with you. And then Roman Fritz.
Go Roman Fritz.
Yeah, the guy doesn't go away. It's unbelievable. He's like the Hillary Clinton of fucking bodybuilding. He just won't go away.
Oh man.
Yeah. So let's see. But you got to give it to him though, man. He comes in chiseled. He comes in,
Yes, he does.
He does.
I mean, that I'm scared about is, you understand the peaking factors with these shows back to back, and then being that lean. He's in a very, very dangerous place. That's the only thing that concerns me. It's great he's competing, but you got qualified for the biggest show ever. wouldn't you want to rest your body and
Yeah.
just bring your best to the best show ever and do better than what you would with running these shows? Unless it's a money situation. I don't know. I firmly
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
it's a money thing and he's trying to collect as much money as possible.
Yeah.
But
He's
I
in
look at the
Europe. Yeah.
health. I look at the health aspect. I mean, I just don't want to see anybody push themselves to this point and continue to push yourself, and not even their coach is saying, because just to put it out there, I even mentioned to my coach, hey, let's run this and I'm gonna do the Arnold, and he shut me down right away. And I listened.
I hear what you're saying.
He
Well,
said, Phil, this was a very long season. You've been going since way before July. And I don't, he said, I don't think it's a good idea. And I listened. I said,
yeah,
okay, we'll just shut it down after the Olympia.
definitely. But here's a question for Jay. Because Roman Fritz is not a very big bodybuilder, does that mean he's able to hold conditioning better than the guys that are on stage 250, 260, 270?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Why would you think that?
Because he's a smaller bodybuilder and it's a little bit easier I would think that it would be a little bit easier to come in shaping a smaller bodybuilder. When you're bigger, you might have things like, spilling over or going flat or
You'd spill over if you're smaller, if you're bigger. It's all in your consumption.
okay.
Size, you should be able to hold your size. Your conditioning aspect is the same. Body fat is the same with bigger and smaller guys. Water retention is the same with bigger, smaller guys. That's
What do you think,
bigger,
Phil?
so he holds more water.
No, I think he's 100% right. I don't think really being smaller. The only time I say the smaller guys can bring in their glutes probably a little bit easier than a guy that has more room back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the muscle tissue, you know what I mean? Some guys do struggle a little bit more. Like me, I got to put in a lot of work. I mean, I train glutes practically 3 to 5 days a week, just constantly touching them, just for them to come in and be hard. You know what I mean? I could die hard, but and that could be too, as you get older too, it gets a little bit difficult now for certain areas for you to bring in tight. So I completely agree with him. I don't think size being smaller, we all still have to die hard. I've seen smaller guys coming out of shape. It's just, he has a very insane mentality. You got to be really, really insane to diet that hard this long and do these shows back to back. That's a complete insanity.
Yeah,
It's complete.
Yeah, you got to give him. He's a warrior, but you're right.
Yeah.
There's probably, because you're right. He won the. There's no reason to do the show in Italy. There's no reason to do that show. You could just wait till fucking the Olympia and cruise into the Olympia. But yeah, well, and the reason why I said that is because I remember an interview with Aceto when he was coaching Big Ramy, but it was the year after. I think he only coached Ramy for like 1 year, and Ramy kind of bounces back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And this is when Ramy had a hard time really coming in 100%, and everybody was waiting for him, and so on and so forth. And Aceto didn't get into detail, but Aceto said it's easier to land a small plane as opposed to a 757. And I don't know exactly what that meant, because Aceto was one of those trainers that, like, you can't explain it, but he could just do it. Palumbo describes him as the Italian grandmother that could just make the food taste good, but she can't explain how.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody, like a Milos could break it down, so on and so forth. But so you're saying that you guys don't think there's any truth to that?
No.
Who's bigger than Ronnie?
Well, yeah, I get it. But Ronnie is, again, I hate using Ronnie as an example because
Ronnie's glutes were probably the best ever.
Yeah, exactly. But again, he was the greatest bodybuilder ever. But okay, but you look at a guy like Marcus Rule or Nasser or who else am I thinking of? Paul Dillette. The monsters were always seem to have a little bit tougher time coming in chiseled. The 212. I mean, again, I might be wrong. I'm talking to two.
There's
Hall of Fame
no science book there, and I agree with what you said with what Milos says. Is there's a reason for everything. There's reasoning for everything.
Because you look at the 212 guys, they come in chiseled. They have to make weight. You look at the classic physique guys, they come in chiseled because they got to make weight. It seems to be the big bodybuilders always seem to have a little. Not all of them, obviously. We've seen.
And you just said it. Yeah. Because they don't have to make weight. They're not dieting as hard.
Okay.
They're not pushing it as hard.
All right.
And you got to look at it too. Just with Big Romney,
Sean
he just
Clarita
wants
was
to. He just
5'2".
yeah, Big Romney just wants to keep getting big. I think several years ago, where he really looked good. I think when he did like the Arnold or so, I can't remember what show, but he just keeps pushing the size, and he's a guy too that has to be watched. The bigger bodybuilders are going to stand discipline wise. A lot of them isn't structurally discipline wise. Like they have to like room up with people weeks before the show because they tend to slip a little bit. Because I've heard some stories,
Okay.
even
I
from
can see
top
that.
coaches.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
not the difference between size; it's the discipline. The bigger guys have bigger appetites, and sometimes they tend to like the one Olympia where we saw Big Romney eating pizza. That's like a big no-no. Prior
Yeah. Right.
as
Right.
carb
Right.
loading,
Yeah.
that's a big
Yeah.
no-no. So I think it's just mentally how you approach the situation, how disciplined you are, regardless of what size you are.
Because there was that one Olympia where he worked with Aceto, and Aceto had him dieted down, but he came out and he looked flat in the prejudging, and obviously he came back at the night show and looked a lot fuller. But I'm not going to argue with two Hall of Fame pros sitting in front of me. So if you guys say that the size has nothing to do with it, then I'll agree with you. The size has nothing to do with it. I was just always under the interpretation that the bigger guys, the massive guys, the over 300-pound guys, always had a harder time coming in really, really solid and really hard. Then again, Lee Priest never came fucking chiseled either. So
no, dude, it's all about you got to look at too. You got to watch the diuretics. You got to watch the insulin loading when they're carb loading. A lot of these things, like I said in peak week, plays a crucial part with some of these bigger guys. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to come in super full because the judges want you so super full. But then you got to understand, too full, you're going to lack some conditioning if you come in super full. I'd rather come in a smidgen flatter and come in condition. But I've done that, and they hit me. Oh well, Phil, you're a little flat. Like they told me, Romania, you're also a little flat. Okay, whatever.
Right. Explain.
Look, on an amateur level, you had somebody like Dave Palumbo, who at the time was probably one of the biggest amateurs ever to come across the NPC stage. Weighing 285 pounds, and his glutes were ripped in the off season.
Yeah. No, you're right. But his problem was
the guy had the most shredded glutes, known for somebody that, like you're saying, but it was year round. It's not a matter of, the thing is,
it's more of an individual thing.
Shape, when you want to, my glutes didn't come into the last 2 or 3 weeks. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's the body type. There's guy, and we've talked about it. We even talked about it with Hunter Labrada. We've talked about it with King. We've talked about it when we go on the podcast. We're all backstage looking at each other's asses to see who's in shape or not. It's the one thing these guys do. Phil, I'm sure you've done it, right? Yeah. You're backstage, you're checking out guys' glutes to see who's in shape or not. Right. And it's not a matter of them being. Look at Kai Green, dude. The guy was fucking nobody bigger at that time.
That's true too. You're right.
The guy's glutes were just fucking shredded.
You're right.
And
you're right about that. You're 100% right.
That's an excuse, dude. The bigger they are, the softer their ass is. There's no scientific proof to that whatsoever.
Okay.
Your body reduces fat the same way accordingly to one person to the next. There's some people that just are preconditioned to hold more in certain areas, and some people have it in their glutes, some people have it in different areas.
Well, you've changed my opinion. I agree with you guys now wholeheartedly. And I really do. I try to be like open-minded, especially when I'm talking to guys that know a hell of a lot more than me. But Phil, can you go into that insulin protocol toward the end of the show and how that?
I don't do it.
Okay.
I'm just saying there's some coaches, and I'm not going to say no names, that I've heard and know that uses when they're carb loading, they'll come in with the insulin. I think that what's the classic physique guy? Frank, what's his name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Logan.
Yeah.
There was an incident when he competed, and I think that has something to do with why he couldn't come out in the show. So, yeah, some coaches use that insulin loading. I think that's a big, because that could cause you to come in holding water. I don't know. I've never done it. You know what I mean? And it's dangerous, but there's a lot of little tricks everybody uses, man, along with the diuretics.
So Jay, what would be the purpose to use insulin when you're carb loading, before a contest?
I'm on the same path there, dude. Like that's a big no-no, and I've heard of guys using it,
Right.
And there are certain guys that are preconditioned who are a little more carb sensitive or more insulin sensitive that retain more water than others when their insulin levels are spiked, right? So it all depends on the person. And there are certain people that can handle it. I would never fucking experiment with that because I just don't think insulin is too unstable in your body for you to be, using it as a gamble. You're taking a risk when you've put 20 weeks of prep in 2 or 3 days before a show. Now, if you're completely flat in your body for some reason, maybe your body's not producing insulin because you've fucked up your levels from over dieting and your body's not retaining anything and you're not able to pull it in. There might be a small, slight chance of an instance that you would introduce something like that. But again, it would have to be in such small doses and you would have to time it perfectly with your meals. But what people don't realize also is even if you're flat and depleted, the ability to retain glycogen in a muscle cell is different for everybody. So there's certain people that can only pull in 60 to 80 grams of carbohydrates of glycogen into the muscle cells at one time. The rest is going to get processed and could be held subcutaneously, where it just sits in your bloodstream and your skin gets a little thicker. Not to say that wouldn't be used down the road later on when you're able to store more glycogen. But cells, especially when they're depleted and dehydrated, your organ cells, people think when you take diuretics also, to get on a different note, like when you drink water, your muscles don't want to look like a bodybuilder. You have to trick your body into doing this. Your body wants to survive. So most of these nutrients go to your organs first, your heart, your kidneys, your liver, your brain. It needs vital nutrients to function. It doesn't want to look like a bodybuilder on stage. Once all that is met, right? And your body is in harmony and your body's in sync where it can actually utilize these nutrients, then it'll filter in, the carbohydrates and use the glycogen to push out the muscle cells and so forth. But I think that's too much of a risky move pre-contest to use insulin. I wasn't a big insulin user either, but there is a time for it. I just don't think it's, a day or two before the day of the contest.
Okay. Eric, that's one thing I know nothing about is insulin. I never tried it, never researched it, no clue. So, I'll ask a question, but I ain't going to give my answer because I have no idea. So, Phil, what are you doing now as far as training? Are you going to be changing anytime soon? Because, the month before usually is when the hell starts.
No, we're not really. Listen, right now he just dropped the carbs down last Saturday. We played. I do check-ins Wednesdays and Saturday. Blue could be a little anal sometimes. I want to do them every 2 days. I don't like doing check-ins every 2 days because I know my body. So, no, man. Right now we're in a good place. We're coming down nice and slow. Of course, we had to come off everything except TRT prior to Romania. I just got back on 2 weeks ago. So the body, it hasn't even been 2 weeks yet. Sunday will be 2 weeks. So the body's now starting to adjust and get back into the flow. So we still got some tightening up to do. But we'll be ready a week before the show. We'll be ready.
All right, cool. One more question for you, Phil, and then we're done for the night. What are you planning for after the Olympia? You're going to spend some time with the family, going on vacation, grandchildren? What are you thinking?
Oh no, we're definitely gonna listen. This year, I'm very proud of my wife. For this is a very, very long season. Have I done 3 shows before? Yes, but they're normally back to back, a week apart or 2 weeks apart. This has been a very, very long season. I'm very proud of her juggling this and also dealing with some of her own, stuff that she's dealing with personally. I'm just very highly proud of her with the push she's given me and the motivation and drive. So yeah, it's really going to be. It has to be all about her after this show's over. Fully support her now and help her go through the things she's going through, and of course, spend time with the grandkids. I'm looking for the break. I'm looking to go to the Olympia and turn up and turn out. I got so many people who've been waiting for me to be there, and they're all coming. And of course, the tickets got sold out, so a lot of people now have to rent it. But I'm really, really excited to go in there, turn up and turn out. But then I'm also excited to just give this body a break and take off and have a good off season, spend time with the family, start going to the movies, and just doing some regular normal stuff.
Right. You know what stinks about not being in Vegas though? Like you could have went right to the craps table right after you fucking.
I don't gamble.
Oh, really? I remember
I
I went to the Olympia in 2000, and I remember we left the Olympia. I was with a few friends, and we saw Marcus Rule at the blackjack table as soon as the show was over.
Yeah, I don't gamble, man.
I don't gamble either. I like that, Phil.
Yeah, but you know what? I know it's going to be there next year. And I'm gonna bust my ass to go defend this title in Orlando because that's the next time I'll step on stage after this year's Orlando to defend that title. And by the grace of God, be able to make it again because of course I'm done next year. So we want to put on a good show, finish this year, which was a great year, and then put on a good show next year and make it back to the Olympia and just close everything out next year on a positive note, man. You know.
All right, very cool. Listen, gentlemen, always a pleasure. Much respect, much love, always. Phil, I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're doing the Olympia. It's really an honor having you. Of course, Jay, I appreciate you. You're like my bestie now. We're like this.
Yeah,
like
man.
This
yeah, Jay's cool,
like
man. I like Jay. I like
doing
these things with the Jay. And you know, John, you reach out to me, man. And I told you before with several times we spoke. I mean, with me, I'm a good judgment of character. You're a very, very down to earth and decent guy. And I normally, like I tell you, I keep a very small circle. You know, we're Christians and everything, but you're just, I take to you. So it's never an issue when you reach out to me to come on here and do this. It's definitely an honor and a privilege. So that's definitely not a problem, regardless if I'm getting ready for a show or not. So
Thank you, sir. That means a lot to me. So we'll have you back after the O, and we'll do it all over again. All right, fellas.
Yes,
thank you
Phil,
very
good luck
much.
to you,
All right.
buddy.
All right, buddy. Be good. Thank you. Take care.